Alright, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to Tales of Two. So my name is Miss Rachel and we are here today with my friend Sassafras. So she is a bit enthusiastic right now because today we are doing snacks with Sassy. Okay, so she's looking for some of her food right now. Now Sassafras is a white-tailed deer, okay, and she is about, I want to say she's about 16 years old. She's actually kind of an old deer. She came to us in 2003 and she was found on the side of the road. Stop that. She's very inquisitive right now. She's trying to figure out what's in the bag. We'll show you guys later. She was found in 2003. She was actually found on the side of the road with a leash and a collar on her. So somebody actually tried to keep her as a pet. She came to us and, oops, there we go, my branch broke. She is unfortunately habituated. So, all right, I think we're back. Sorry, guys. Maybe. All right, I think we're back. I think we're gonna try this again. Unfortunately, like I said, our connection is a little bit spotty, so we're gonna see what we can do. Okay. So, like I said before, welcome to Tales of Two. We are doing snacks with Sassy today. Come here. Now, like I mentioned before, Sassy is a wild deer, but she is habituated, so she's used to people coming around. We do have to give her some special medication. We do have to give her some special snacks and treats. Oh, no, you're not getting that. I'm feeding you. Okay? So she likes a bunch of different things. So this is a whole pea pod. You might be able to hear her crunching. Oh my goodness. So this one's a pepper. I can hear her, can you? She's very noisy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm feeding her a bunch of different things. Now, this is a bunch of different things that she might actually find in the wild, especially if she's going after a farmer's field or something like that, which deer can and will do. So these are apples that I'm giving her now. Sweet potato pieces. She probably won't be finding those unless she tries to dig them up. Typically deer in the wild are going to be browsing, so they're going to be looking for plants that are about their height or down below. They can stretch up. They can, you'll notice that she's reaching up trying to get some of the stuff. So the deer do have a browse line, so they have a height limit that they can get to. And then they'll definitely eat things on the ground. I'm gonna try this one. This one I'm told she really, really likes. This is a whole shelled peanut, so we'll see how this does.
What do you think, Sass?
Oh, I think she liked that one. Okay, now I'm going through this kind of slowly because I want to keep her interest. But in the wild, so these deer are probably going to be eating a lot of plants that are on the ground, so flowers or flowering plants. They do like things like rhododendron. They'll eat things like mountain laurel. Her namesake, actually, Sassafras, is what she was named after. She actually really, really likes. Okay, so she will eat that. That's a kind of plant. I'm giving her some grains and some cereal right now. Okay, so she gets things like seeds. She'll get things like oats and raisins. Oh, yes? Now, the reason she can eat a lot of this stuff is because, like I said, she is a ruminant animal, okay? And what that means is that she actually has 4 stomachs, okay? Now, if she has 4 stomachs, what that does is that gives her the ability to digest things that we wouldn't be able to. So things like, actually things like branches and twigs, so buds, things like that, especially in the wintertime, when there's not a lot of green stuff growing around. So in the wintertime, their diet changes a little bit. They get a lot more tough material in their diet. And having 4 stomachs allows them to eat a whole bunch of stuff all at once, swallow it down, then go somewhere safe and kind of cough it back up, and then they'll continue chewing it. Okay? That's called chewing their cud.
Gregory, age 9, would like to know if Sassafras can swim.
Oh, you know, deer actually can swim. They're not the best swimmers in the world, but they actually can swim. They're known to travel onto islands, especially in places like Alaska or Canada, where there's a whole bunch of islands around. Um, Places along the coasts, they will swim across rivers. Like I said, they're not the best since their hooves are not well designed for that, but they can and they do.
I've even seen them out in the bay.
Yes, yes, they have. They do go across bays. Sometimes that's the best way to get from place to place. Sometimes they get spooked and they'll go into the water. Now, these are a prey animal, so because they're a prey animal, they do get scared pretty easily, and they have to be really, really cautious. So they're going to be eating a lot when they can, and then can hide out and find a better spot.
Charlotte would like to know, are deer related to dik-diks?
That's a good question. I don't remember if dik-diks are an antelope or if they are something else. I think they're a type of antelope, which if they are, they're kind of related. I think they have, I don't think they're closely related, but I think they're more related than like a horse is. So, yes and no. That'd be a good question to look up.
2 more questions.
Okay.
Gregory would also like to know how old deer will live in the wild.
That's a very good question. I was just looking that up before we started. Deer in the wild typically live about 4 to 5 years. Okay, now that depends on whether you're a male deer or whether you're a female deer. The female deer actually usually live longer in the wild. They will probably live to about 6 to 7 years in the wild. The males maybe only 2 to 3. Not because that's because the males often get hunted, or they might get they might try and attack other things and then get put down because of that. Okay? So in the wild, Sassy would be a very, very old deer. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that there's not old deer out in the wild. Sometimes they do live to be about 13 or 14 in the wild as well. Sassafras, because she's in captivity, she's a lot safer. So she doesn't have to worry about getting sick. She doesn't have to worry about anything attacking her, hunting her. She doesn't have to worry about cars or anything like that. Okay? So she has it a little bit easier than a lot of the other wild animals.
And another question that goes off of that last to what you're just saying. Lori Ann wants to know who will try to eat them. So what are their predators?
They're predators. In New Jersey, historically the predators were things like wolves and mountain lions. Now, we don't have too many of them around anymore, but they do have other predators. Things like bear will eat young fawns. Bobcats, lynxes will also eat young fawns. Coyotes will definitely eat young fawns. Definitely all those things like that will take a young deer. Now, the animals that'll take an adult deer, like I said, those ones we've kind of taken out of the equation. So we do have hunters and they will get them too. So those are the main predators right now.
And Barbara would like to know, how fast do deer run?
That is a great question. They've actually been recorded at about 47 miles per hour. So the next time you're on the highway and you're going 47 miles an hour, imagine a deer keeping pace right next to you. That is really, really quick. Now, that is so that they can run away from their predators. Remember, their predators are historically ones that might chase after them, and they need to run away very, very quickly. So they need to be able to get that good burst of speed to get away. Now, they're also great jumpers. Okay, you can see she's actually got some really, really strong back legs. That's all muscle. Okay, now, like I said, she's been in captivity for a while, so she's probably not as strong as some of the deer that are out in the wild anymore. But deer that are in the wild, they can jump about 8 to 9 feet straight up, okay? And they can leap a good 33 feet distance. Okay? So I've actually seen them jumping clear across streams. I've seen them jumping, I have seen them jumping fences, things like that. So they're very, very strong, and all that helps them get away from predators, things that might try to eat them. Okay? even though there's not too many predators around for them anymore, they still have all those same instincts and they still have all the same adaptations that help them survive. Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, Michael, age 9.
Uh-huh.
He would like to know what type of deer sassafras is.
So sassafras is a white-tailed deer. Okay. She liked that peanut. White-tailed deers are the most common ones around North America right now, in this part of North America anyway. We also have mule deer and black-tailed deer, but they're further out west. So if you see a deer in New Jersey, most of the time, almost all the time, it's going to be a white-tailed deer. If it's something else, it means it's something escaped somewhere.
And Laura, age 8, would like to know how old do they live in captivity.
So in captivity, there's records of them surviving up to 17 or 18 years. So she's about 16 years old now, maybe a bit older, because we don't know exactly how old she was when she got here. But she was at least a year old when she came. So she's getting up there, but we hope that she'll be around for a long time still.
And Heather would like to know if we have any baby deer here right now.
Ah, that's a good question. So the baby deer, they don't start coming in until the summer. Okay. Now, the fawns are usually born early in the summer, and we'll typically start getting them in June and July. Okay, so we don't have any fawns yet because they haven't been born yet. Okay, we do start to see fawns, like I said, in June and July. I will say that if you find a deer, if you find a fawn out in the wild and it's just kind of like sitting in your lawn or something, that's actually a natural thing that deer do. What they'll do is the mother deer will actually put their fawns in a safe place and they'll leave them there for the whole day. Okay? They'll come back to see them periodically, but the deer aren't strong enough to go hang out with the mom yet to keep up with the mom. So they'll stay there, and the mom deer know where they are. They're perfectly healthy. They're perfectly fine. Okay? So we often get a lot of people that'll bring baby deer in. They'll bring the fawns in without checking to make sure that the mothers have really abandoned them. So if you have a question about it, definitely please give us a call, and we can give you some more information about it. Okay? So before you just bring a fawn into us, please call us and let us know. Okay? Sassy, do you want the rest of your snack? No? Okay. That's good. You got all the medicine in anyway. That's good. Now, what Sassy will do, notice that she ate very, very quickly. She ate very fast, and now she's just kind of meandering away. What the deer will do is they'll eat very quickly. They'll eat as much as they can, and then get to a nice safe place. And that's when they really start to chew, and that's when they really start to digest. So eventually, she'll start chewing her cud in a little bit. Okay? Might take a little bit, but she definitely will. But I want to show you some other cool things. Now, I can't show you with her because she won't open her mouth on command. But I do have some deer bones that I can show you, and I want to let you know that. So I do have a skull and some jaw bones. So if you're a little bit concerned, then you might want to stop the video now. Okay? But if you're not, I've got some cool things to show you. So this is a jawbone of a young deer. Okay? Now it is missing one tooth, and that's okay. As the deer, when all the flesh is gone and the gums aren't holding it in, sometimes the teeth fall loose. We lose track of them. We try not to, but it happens. But what I want you to see is that how sharp these teeth are. Okay? Now deer, like I said, are almost entirely plant eaters. So they're going to be chewing a lot of plant material, and a lot of that plant material is really, really tough. So they do use these teeth to start grinding all of that material and eating it and chewing it up, okay, into something more manageable so that the bacteria in their body can digest it. Okay? Now, this one is from a young deer, and I know that because the points are actually still there. As the deer get older, their teeth start to wear down and start to flatten out. Now, because they're ruminants, because they're constantly chewing things, their teeth actually constantly grow. Now, I didn't realize that before today either, but their teeth actually constantly will grow. Now, they won't continue to get pointy, but they will start to flatten out. Okay, so you can actually tell the age of the deer, get a good estimate on how old the deer is by how flattened their teeth are. Okay, so I want to see, I do have another one in here. So I'll give you a better idea.
Shannon, age 10, would like to know what the scientific name is for white-tailed deer.
Good good question. I don't remember off the top of my head. Something Virginianus, I believe. Don't remember off the top of my head. And it's not on this one either.
They're cervids, correct?
They are cervids, yes. Okay. Okay, so this is from an older deer. This is actually from our touch table, so if you remember seeing any of our ones with the blue tag on it, that's from our touch table. But this one, you notice, has much, much flatter profile than the younger one. So the one on top here, this is from an older deer. So this one has had more time to start wearing down the teeth, okay? So he definitely definitely survived for a little bit longer. You see all those points are gone. Okay. Now, deer teeth, they also don't have incisors either, at least not on the top and the bottom. So we have incisors on our top teeth and our bottom teeth to use to, snip into things. It's what you use when you bite a carrot. Okay. Deer only have it on their bottom, I believe. Okay, so they only have the bottom incisors. They don't have a top. And what that helps them do is when they're eating grass on the ground, they actually just put down, they hold the grass in their teeth and they just kind of pluck it out and nibble it out. Okay? So that's all they need to do. They don't need to put any extra energy into extra teeth. Oh, let's see.
Laura, age 8, wants to know if deer have a special type of house.
Deer have a special type of house. Deer in the wild typically are just going to be out in nature. Okay? They're actually outside year-round, so they don't typically have caves or homes or anything like that. They might find a thicket, okay? So they might have a stand of trees that's a little bit closer together. That makes them feel a bit safer, especially from things like predators coming to get them. But they don't typically have a home or a house to go into. So they're going to be outside year-round. Now, Sassafras, she does have a barn. So if you come to visit us, she does have a barn that she might hide into every once in a while. Okay? Typically when it gets a little bit cooler or when it's raining, she might stay inside. But for the most part, deer out in the wild are pretty much going to be outside the whole time, just kind of wandering around. Yeah.
We have another good question.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha, age 11, how long do baby deer stay with their mothers?
Good question.
When you see a herd, are they all related?
That's a good question. So when you see a herd, typically most of the time they are related. The female deer, so the does, the young does, they will actually stay with their mother for 2 years. So the mothers, they will take care of their female deers their female babies for 2 years before they'll start to go off on their own. Okay? The males, after they're about a year old, they'll peel off and they'll start looking for a female herd of their own. So when you see a group of deer, typically it's going to have one male deer with a few females around. Okay? It might be his mate plus his daughters. You might also find 1 or 2 young male deer that haven't moved on yet. Maybe they're still a little bit young. Okay? But for the most part, yeah, they are all related. It's a good question. I like it.
One more question.
Yeah.
Laura would like to know, how affectionate are we allowed to be with Miss Sassy?
Oh, that's a good question. So here at Cedar Run, we want to portray that the animals are wild animals. And they are still wild animals. They can still hurt us. Notice I'm wearing gloves, and if you've seen any of our other videos, you know that we always wear some type of protective gear when we're working with them. That's because they're used to us handling them. They still have their wild instincts, and they can still hurt us. Okay? So for that reason, we generally say hands off unless you're doing some sort of medical or feeding with them. So for the general public, I would say definitely do not touch the deer if you can. Okay? And with Sassy in particular, she likes on Facebook and on our YouTube, so do that. She actually she will get some Valentines sometimes too when we do a Valentine promotion over the winter. Things like that. And you can always adopt Sassy. Sassy is one of our adopting animals, so you can symbolically adopt Sassafras, and all the money that you use for that adoption will go towards her care. So that's a very nice thing to do as well.
You want to take one more question?
Yes, please.
Claire would like to know, how many teeth can they have?
How many teeth can they have? That's a good question. That's the one thing I did not research. I believe they have 6 incisors, though I'm not 100% sure on that. There goes Sassy food. She'll get it. Okay. If you want to take a look, this is a fawn. Okay, so this is a fawn's skull. Okay. And the teeth in the top here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 teeth there. 1, 2, 3, 4, probably a 5th tooth there that didn't come in. So that's 10 teeth on the top. Let's check the bottom. Looks like 1 missing, 2 missing, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. And if we assume the same on the other side, so that's another 12. So 10 plus 12, we've got 22. Plus, let's say 4 to 6 incisors, maybe more. I'm going to have to double check that and get back to you. And that's only across the bottom. So another 4 would bring us to 26, to 28, maybe to 30 if there's more. They always have even numbers too. So that's what you're gonna find. Okay? Good question. Alright. Now one of the last bones that I have in here to show you. I actually have an animal that is a cervid, it is a ruminant, but it is not a deer. It's actually a deer relative. Okay? So this one, I'm going to show you one of the other ones. 4 scale. So this is an adult deer. It's a young one, but it's an adult deer. This one, what do you guys think it is?
Any guesses?
I'm sure you're going to get a couple in there. It's a lot bigger. It is a relative. It's got a much thicker, heavier jaw. Okay? And all of that actually will help support a bigger antler rack as well. This is actually from an elk. So this one, you see it's a lot bigger. They eat much of the same thing, but because their teeth are a little bit hardier and because their elk are typically in colder areas, they're probably going to eat a lot more hardy material too, a lot harder. So things, probably more brush, probably more shoots and stalks and buds of things that might be a little bit tougher. So their teeth can be bigger and chunkier too. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the size comparison there. This is also an older one, though it's an older bone because it's kind of splintered, but the ridges have actually broken off a little bit too, so that's why it looks a little bit flatter than it should. Okay, where'd Sassy get to? Sassy's waiting for us to head out.